Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about meetups. I went to a meetup a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to share my experience with you. Hopefully, you'll learn something that you can take to your meetups when you go meet other people. Are you ready? Let's go. So, fun fact about me. I really enjoy walking. Walking is just one of my favorite pastimes. Fortunately, I live in one of the most walkable cities in the United States. Chicago. Yes, Chicago. Everywhere I go, it's beautiful. There are trails. There's lots of scenery, lots of sights to behold. I'm not just talking about downtown either. Downtown is really not that great compared to the neighborhoods. Walk through the neighborhoods. Lots of beautiful scenery, the houses, the infrastructure is just amazing. And then you've got iconic Lakeshore Drive that just runs right along Lake Michigan. It's beautiful, right? Such a beautiful place to walk. I love it. A few times I've walked half of the city. I think half of the city. I started from one end to the city, the north side of the city, and I walked to the middle of the city, which was downtown, and then I would catch a transit on my way back. It was pretty dope. I like to see how the neighborhoods change, right? You can just walk down one street. And I think the most popular street to walk down is Halsted. Well, I really enjoy Halsted, and there's a lot of history behind it too. But you can just walk down and you can see how the neighborhoods will change. And it's just one straight line. You just can't get lost. You can't get lost. So it's pretty awesome. And, since I love walking so much, and I always talk about making meaningful connections, starting with your hobbies, your history, your hobbies, and your habits. So one of the things that I enjoy is, walking, and that's a hobby, and it's also a habit, something I do every day. I walk. I walk somewhere every day. So I thought, well, I'm going to join this meetup. I'm going to look for a meetup based on walking. Found one, and this group advertised itself as a group that was meant for friendships and nothing else, just friendships. And of course, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to get into a romantic relationship. I don't want to be around people who are interested in getting into a romantic relationship because I want the friendship. I'm looking for the social connection where we're not kissing and touching each other in romantic ways. So that's what I'm looking for, and I know those are the kind of people I want to be around. So the event was perfect for me because we're going to walk, and the people that I imagined that would be at this event would also be perfect because they're looking for the same kind of connection that I'm looking for. Prioritize platonic, right? That's what my new saying is, prioritize platonic. So when I get there, we're going to go for a river walk. This is dope. See, there's so many places to walk in Chicago. We go for a river walk, and this is a nice sized group, about 30 people. I love it. I'm already like, all right, I'm starting to talk to people. I make sure to show up a little early, start to talk to people, ask them my questions. I open people up and start conversations by talking a bit about me too, making them feel more comfortable before we even get to the walk. And I started to ask people, this is my question that I ask people. What inspired you to join this meetup? And this was like my opening question to start getting this deep conversation started because, I know what I'm looking for, right? And I want people to be able to answer that question. There's not just, I really want to know more about who you are. And this one woman, she gave a really great answer. She said that she had just filed for divorce, and despite living in the city for 20 years, she just lost most of her friends with the divorce, and she needed new friends. So she gave a nice look into her life and her motivation for being there, how her life was changing. I really did appreciate that. But unfortunately, we weren't able to connect afterward. We had a conversation, weren't able to connect after. Another person said that they moved to Chicago about 2 weeks prior and they wanted to meet people before winter comes. That's smart, right? Because when it's cold, nobody's going anywhere. It's cold. It's iced over. Nobody's doing nothing. Nobody's doing anything. So it's nice to enjoy this nice weather before it gets cold. So I wound up talking to them for a little bit, learned about where they were from and their history, and it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then I met some more people. I guess I'm just going to talk about these people that I met and what I learned about them. Just asking these questions, opening up them with these questions. I actually overheard someone talking about karaoke. And so I jumped in the conversation. I was like, hey, I also liked karaoke a whole lot. When I lived in California, I used to sing karaoke just about every night. I also hosted karaoke for a little bit. It was pretty fun. And then I sobered up and all that stuff went away. And it turned out that the person I was talking to enjoyed karaoke. They also enjoyed the bar life and everything. And those are some things that are behind me now to not do as much. It's like every once in a while. But I was like, still trying to make connections with people. And I had a really, really interesting experience because I start talking, and as we start walking now. So I'm talking to people now as we're walking. And I realized that there was something a little off. Some of the guys, they were shifting their energy towards connecting with the women. And I was like, what is this? What's going on here? And I'm trying to figure out, like, we're not dating. And the women, are they twirling their fingers in her hair? What is this? Where am I? I don't like it. I don't want to be here. But I discovered that there was two groups. So there was a group that was focused on platonic relationships. That's the one that I found this event through. So there was a group that platonic relationship focused, and then there was another group that was there for 20s and 30s singles. And then they were focused on 20s and 30s getting together and they're singles. I'm not in the 20s and 30s anymore. I'm actually 40. So I'm too old for that group. And I realized that, wow, there's this energy where they're trying to meet people. So you got two groups, one who thinks we're here to make friends and one who thinks we're here to do something more romantic, find your partner and stuff like that. And I just know from my own personal experiences and my relationships with my romantic partners that if I'm not a friend, if I don't know how to make friends, or if I don't have friends, being in a romantic relationship is just going to suck. It's going to be hard. It's going to be so difficult because I won't have anybody to complain to. I'm really saying complain to. I won't have anybody to talk about the problems or the experiences that I have with my partner, because I don't have another outside source to help me out. I firmly believe that we need that in order to have a successful romantic relationship. You need somebody else to process with, because I know that I didn't come equipped with the tools to handle emotional regulation. I mean, like, if my partner would say something to me and it was painful or hurtful and they wanted me to change something for their sake, I probably wouldn't be able to hear them. Sometimes I can't hear them. I need to go away and get a different point of view. I know I need to do that. And it just gets so intense when it's a romantic relationship. Everybody, I believe, needs to go get a different perspective. And that's, honestly, I think that's why we have friends, So I'm here at this walk, a lot of great people having some conversations, but I noticed it shift. They shifted, the energy was shifting towards, let's try and hook up. Let's try and talk to each other. And, or maybe that intention, looking at all the males, maybe that was coming off of me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to make friends, And if I talk to you as a woman, you may think I'm trying to date you, and that's just not where my mind is at. And as I say this out loud, I think, no, maybe I need to make that clear. But I didn't want to have to make it clear. It feels awkward to do that. Like, I'm not trying to date you or anything. I just want to talk to you. That's why I wanted to go with a group with friendship focus, so I don't have to say that specific thing. And then we have to go through the rigmarole. Oh, that's so presumptuous that I was flirting with you. Uh, just leave it alone. I don't wanna. I don't want that. Anyway, I learned a couple of things from this experience, and overall, it was a great experience. I enjoyed the people I talked to. I actually connected with another transgendered person. We talked for quite a bit. After the meetup, we actually walked around the city some more, and we talked for a bit. So we talked for an hour or two, I think, and that was nice. And we'll probably connect again sometime in the future. But the couple of things that I learned and that I'd like to pass on to you about going to meetups and being intentional with your time, hopefully this will save you a bit of time, is that you avoid singles groups. Just, of course, avoid them. You're looking for friends. Don't go to them. For all the reasons that I mentioned before, just don't. You want friends. And then before going to a meetup, pay attention to the group that's hosting the event and see if there's a duplicate event, just so you might avoid something like this, where you come better prepared to have conversations or start conversations. So maybe you go to a group, you go to an event, you're looking at the event only, and let's say it's a board game event, and you think about going to this event, and you discover that another organizer or another group is hosting the same event. So a different group of people are going to show up at your board game event. So you're a casual player, and this one is hosted by a casual people, but then you go and you find out that there are hardcore gamers that are going to be here. They're going to be here, and it might be a little upsetting if they're really competitive and you're not interested in being competitive. So you might want to figure out who is who when you get there. So let's say you still decide to go to the event and you start striking up conversation about how you found this meetup. Which group did you find it? Are you a competitive gamer, or, hey, I'm just here to have fun? If you're here to compete, let's do something else. Let's talk to other people then. I don't want to play a game with you if you're going to be competitive with it, because I'm not a heavy gamer. I just want to have fun. So it's going to help you just be more clear about who you're talking to, so you don't get roped into doing something that you're not really interested in. And then I think one of the best things that I've discovered about this, because it was a walking meetup, this event allows easy entrance and exiting of conversations. So what I mean is that when you go to a board game meetup, you might sit down, you might play a game because you want to play this game, but the people, you're not really feeling the vibe. Okay, you get started, but there's no conversation flowing. It feels a little awkward, and you just can't get up either. It feels awkward as well to get up. You also want to finish the game, but you're stuck there. You're not really meeting the people. And remember, the goal is to meet the people. So you don't want to get stuck like that. You go to meetups that will allow easy entrance and exit of conversations, like the walk. So a couple of times, I was walking alongside someone, we was talking, having a conversation, and they decided they didn't want to talk anymore. And they were like, all right, we're done. And essentially continued walking on. Fine. I'm absolutely okay with that. I did the same thing. I was like, oh, the conversation's kind of dying, or there's nothing else to talk about here. I'm not interested in the topic you're talking about. So I will just slow down and I'll say, oh, it's nice talking to you. I'll talk to somebody else. I thought it was really comfortable to do that because it was a walk. We weren't designated to talk to people. We just found our people. So go to events like that and you'll get an opportunity to kind of weave through and talk to more people rather than being stuck in a structured place. And also that's a really great event, easy entrance and exit of conversation. But if you can, what I prefer is to go to events that have a little more structure to it, where you're actually sitting down and you're talking to them with prompted conversation topics. It'll make it easier if you feel a little bit awkward about mingling and connecting with people. So those are a few things that I learned from this meetup. I thought it was pretty dope all overall, and I'll definitely go again and I'll try these things that I've mentioned to you, and I'll come back with some more information. I'll be right back with the answer Reddit question. Are you tired of being around people who just don't get you? Have you been putting yourself out there but not able to find anybody that matches your vibe? You're not alone. Making friends, especially as an adult, is hard. My name's Coach Lee. I'm a social connections coach, and I want to help you find your tribe. I have a 3-step coaching program for groups and individuals that's designed to help you get to the right place, to meet the right people, to have the right kind of conversations that leave you feeling fulfilled, appreciated, and understood. After going through the Find Your Tribe coaching program, you'll discover who it is that you really want to be connected to, how to find those people, and what you need to talk about so that your relationship moves from an acquaintanceship to a close friendship. And with this program, you won't be on this journey alone. You'll have access to a private community in which there are others who are just as intentional about making the kind of connections you are. You'll also have access to live events like weekly Q&As, speed friending, and much more. You'll be able to practice your skills in a safe environment and feel confident to connect authentically when you get out into the real world. If you're ready to get started on making meaningful connections and lasting relationships, then apply to the coaching program by using the link in the show notes. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. Have you used Meetup? Was it a hit or a miss? I really both want and need to make some friends. I've never had any, and I feel like my loneliness and mourning over this has stopped me from enjoying life and being young. I'm 25, by the way. I really just want to spend time with and enjoy the company of people my own age. I've read things about Meetup, and I'm wondering whether it's worth it or not to take a shot before I get my hopes up. Has anyone used it? How'd it go? Was it a hit or a miss? Now, I really don't have a response to them. I just thought I would read some people's comments. The most upvoted comment here is that I use it a lot for professional networking events like the local software dev groups, and it works great for that in my opinion. I've used it for a bit of social hangouts, and it was a miss. The people who showed up were very much not interested in hanging out outside of that specific meetup, and it was very cliquey. I haven't used it for specific interest meetups, like hobby groups or sports groups, but I think it would probably be a bit better than the, quote, 20s social hangout style meetups. I think that they got a point here. Of course, this is their experience where professional networking events, like, I think what happens with professional networking events is people really are driven by the purpose of talking to each other because they're gonna make money. The professional networking, they know their network is their net worth, so they get together. But when it comes to more social groups, people tend to feel a little bit awkward about opening up about what's happening in their life and making real connections with others. So people can seem cliquey because, hey, they've already met each other, or they know that they like this one thing and they don't want to move away from that one topic. They're just, these are my people. So it could be some uncomfortable. Let me find another topic. But that was the most upvoted. Let me find another comment, And sure enough, what I see here is somebody posted or commented, I totally agree. It feels like it's a better platform for, quote, causes we can get behind together, unquote. Like sporadic hiking groups, people join for one-day activities or park cleanups, but purely as a social platform, it falls short. People are oddly cliquey, and because the site charges groups an overhead fee, people you might not want to actually meet are disinclined to pay and often fall off in the margins somewhere. I'm not actually sure what that means, but I guess people sometimes pay. Groups have an overhead fee, of course, but groups that you might want to actually meet, people that you want to actually hang out with, won't form a group because they don't want to pay. I think that's what they're saying. They don't want to pay. So, wow, that's been an experience for people. And I like to say that this is a Reddit thread that was about 3 years. It's 3 years ago. So it may be different now. 3 years ago was like during the pandemic, but it may be different now. It may be different now for some people. Let me find another comment. Okay, this one is talking about a different thing. It says, when I moved to a new city by myself, I was in the same boat, not able to make friends. I used Bumble BFF and found a lot of success with it. Most of the girls on there are new to the city and need a new girl gang. So you'll find that you're all in the same position. So it was very easy to make friends there. And this is one of the more upvoted ones too, where it's got like 100 or something, 150 different upvotes. But wow, so they had a lot of success. And I think that it has something to do with the people, the personality of the people that are commenting, of course. So this person, they sound like an outgoing person. They were just like, well, we're all connected because we're all in a new city. We don't know what to do together. We just have this common experience of being lost. But I think, and of course you may find some people because you're all new together. But once your personalities start coming out and you start getting more familiar with the city and learning about things that you want to do, then if your relationship is just based on the fact that you're living in the city and you're new together, that might fall apart. It might. But it's a great place to start. I mean, any place you start is a great place to start. Following the Bumble thread, someone says, I tried Bumble BFF and a couple of other platforms like that, but it was briefly when I first moved a few years ago and I was lonely. But the people I found on there had very high standards. Every profile was a bunch of rules about how they would be willing to be friends or who they would be willing to be friends with, who would dress like this, who weigh no more than that, and so on. And I was like, ugh, if you're on here, I feel like you can't afford to be that picky. So they got off real quick. So they stopped using the app. That totally makes sense. I mean, I think that when we create our profiles, we focus on, some of the things that seem really obvious to us or what looks good to us, like so weight and you have to dress like this and do these things, because if you dress like this or if you weigh this much, then there's a chance that you have the same kind of values that I do. If you dress like me, if you weigh what I do, if you are a big Hulk, then you probably work out. If you're skinny, maybe you run. But we don't really find our tribe when we look at the results of the things that we do. It's the habits that we have that create the results. So if we're looking at somebody and we want them to be thin, maybe it's not that you want them to be thin. Maybe you want someone who works out. Maybe you want someone who's a vegan. Maybe you want someone who, I don't know, but you want someone who has the habits that you have. The habits create the results that you see. So that's something to keep in mind. But with that said, I think that, trying these apps, going to Meetup, trying Bumble BFF or whatever places that you can find to connect with people, it starts with the conversation, knowing what it is that you're looking for, who you want to talk to, and then being thoughtful in your approach, making sure that you talk about those things that are important to you so that you know if they share your same values. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.